Should I give my unsolicited opinion on AI book covers? Well, I figure if I'm going to have a social media platform of any sort, what's the point if I'm not talking about real subjects that matter? So to begin with, probably anyone who knows me knows that I am not happy about the way AI is used in creative endeavors. I do think it screws over creatives, especially those who do short form content like poetry or art, like single art pieces. The reason is not just that it's stealing or scraping the work for its data set, but the real reason I think is that it obfuscates credit. It erases those artists and makes it so it's as like they never even existed. And it leaves a vacuum for somebody else to kind of step in and take credit or steal it from them. I'm talking about credit, not the work itself. The work itself is also being scraped and used in these data sets, but I think that the real tragedy of it is that the artist no longer gets credit. And so you're removing the incentive for an artist to even make work at that point. A lot of creatives are seeing this and saying you should never use AI to make art at all or to generate art. And I actually do not blame the end users so much in this case if all they are doing is generating the art. I don't think it's great that they're doing it, but I do see the financial and the social incentives behind the reasons why people are using it so often. I don't blame people for wanting to use it to help them get an edge. We are in a attention economy, and visibility is everything. That's just kind of the state of the world that we're in right now. Social media kind of boosts things that have any kind of an edge to them. Low effort, rapidly generated content is king right now. Now, I don't think that's a good thing, but that is the reality that we are living in. There are entire middleman companies dedicated to kind of exploiting SEO, which is search engine optimization, A/B testing, and so forth. And most of these practices do kind of require low effort content generation. Of course, they would like it to be high effort, but if you're going to create stuff rapidly, then, click of the button is the easiest way, and that is low effort. So prompting AI and doing other kind of low effort practices is what helps people get views and clicks. Unfortunately, again, I'm not endorsing that at all. I think that's a terrible state of things, but that is reality. So I do get why creatives are using it, and it's for very similar reasons. There's kind of immense pressure to package your product in a professional manner. Professional looking book covers do give you a huge edge on Amazon, other retailers, web serial sites, any place where you want attention as a writer. Well, having a book cover that looks professional, even if that means it's from a scraped data set full of professional artists that never got the credit and never get paid for what they did. I mean, hey, that is how you're going to get clicks, and you can do it with a lot less effort and a lot less money than actually paying an artist. Everyone knows it. And I don't think we should single out writers here. I mean, this is probably also true for music album covers, for posters, for theater productions, and for a lot of other endeavors out there. I think the pressure to rapidly iterate using AI, it's immense. It's out there. So having seen a lot of kind of teenagers and amateur hobbyists use generative AI to make book covers so that they can stand out in the crowded marketplace, my sympathies are with some of these creators. Now, of course, they're not creating the art, they are creating the writing and then generating a book cover to help it get visible in a crowded marketplace. These marketplaces are always oversaturated. Where I get judgmental is when somebody steps into the credit vacuum that the generative AI work has, left basically after erasing the identity of all the artists for the data set. Then somebody steps in and says, I made this art. No, you didn't. That's where I get judgmental, and I think that's a pretty crappy thing for any artist to do to the unnamed, unknown masses of artists. I think we've all heard the AI bros that make arguments that it's just the same as learning and inspiration and homage. No, it isn't. When you press a button, you're not learning anything. Inspiration and homage happen when you know who you're inspired by and who you're paying homage to. When you don't, when these people are all just anonymized and made invisible and it's as if they never existed, that's a different thing. That's different. Prompting an LLM to generate a book cover is not the same as doing creative work. And I think in the future, the phrase, "I made this," might start to become a joke if enough people keep doing that and taking credit for what they never made. There is some online shaming, probably a lot of online shaming for people who use it. And I do think there's justice in that. It is pretty shameful. On the other hand, like I said, I do understand the market pressures and the social pressure and the economic pressure and all of that. Those pressures are huge and they are there. So I do get why people are using it. It's just that when they take credit and pretend that they made the prompted art, that's when I have a problem with it. That's when I think it's truly disgusting. If you think you're kind of backed into a corner, you have no other way, you're treating your writing as a hobby and you don't want to pay an artist for something that you are just doing casually to see if it'll even ever make money, okay. I mean, I can kind of get that. I just think that it's right to mention that the cover was prompted or that the cover was generated by an LLM. In other words, it was generated by thousands of unnamed, uncredited artists who will never get acknowledged for the work they did. Long term, I think that as long as low effort content is rewarded, rapid release content rewarded, over high effort with low return on investment quality content, we're kind of in a race to the bottom. I mean, you could argue that these things go in cycles and that that's part of human history. I do see it as that we are possibly entering an artistic dark ages. There have been periods in history like that where, you had at the height of the Roman Empire, they were sculpting beautiful things, and in the dark ages, it looked a little bit like childish drawings in comparison to what they used to do. And then there was a resurgence with the Renaissance. That's over a very long period of time, but even in the 20th century, we could say that there have been periods where art was kind of in a little bit of a weak spot or a lull, and then it had a resurgence. So it is kind of cyclical. I do think that right now, I don't like where it's heading as an artist and as a creative. And I am a lifelong artist and creative. And just like in the 1960s, it's easy to say, don't sell out, man. But selling out, the incentives are real, the rewards are real. It's easy to say that from a place of privilege, of course. I do get why people are, quote, selling out. But I also hope people like me, which, is arguably a little bit crazy, keep drawing, keep painting, doing actual work and not prompting an LLM. And I especially hope that consumers and art collectors keep buying things like that, because I think that's important. There are people who financially support indie authors, indie artists, indie musicians, and so forth. And I think as long as those people keep existing, we'll be all right.